I have had sex with Gaspar Noé in one of my dreams. Yes, I have.
Oh yes.
Yes, I was blowing him, and then he like stopped to be all social and vulnerable with me. He was like, "We have to stop. I have to tell you my secrets."
Oh, I want to know those secrets.
I wish I could remember them.
Ah, God damn it.
It was so sexy though. I loved the dream. I had a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah. Gaspar Noah looks like a thumb with too much hair. He does.
He's sexy in like a creepy way.
Exactly. Yeah, there's something weird about sexual self-pres where they either look like a prostitute or a total pervert. It's just like either one of those like creepy thing. It's either one of those.
Vincent Cassel has that same like creepy, sexy vibe.
Yeah. Like yeah, he kind of does. Except like he's kind of like staring into your eyes and that immediate like, yeah, like I love them in Black Phone. Vincent Cassel is good. He has that kind of appeal and attractiveness that I want to steal, but it's like like that 1-3 stem is somewhere. It's like just that extra. Ugh,
It's
it's
that
beautiful.
twishness that you want.
Ugh.
You
I,
secretly wish you were two fixed.
yeah. Secretly I wish it was a 972 with the sexual social.
Sometimes I do fantasize about being a two fixer. I'm like, ooh, what if? My heart is just so full of love and joy. I was like feeling so two fixed the other day. I think it was probably just the combination of no sleep and not eating and like the nicotine pouches I was using. But I was like, I was feeling so full of love. I was like crying all day about random shit.
Yeah, it's like full of love for what?
I was like, I just feel so gooey. It's probably just sleep deprivation. I'm going crazy.
Actually, Freud was 3 and 2, so I would have been a type twin
Oh, he
if my
was.
wing
Wow.
was changed. Yeah, he's literally
I
5
did
wing
not know that.
6. Yeah, 5 wing 6, 1 wing 9, and 3 2 in that order. And
Oh,
social
okay.
suppress. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
there's so many things that I'm pretty sure people can delightfully watch Gaspar Noé's films,
Yeah.
especially
Speaking of
Climax.
sexual self-pres.
It's sexual self-pres indeed. Yeah. Yeah, Gaspar Noé. I recently, yeah, I just remember he was listed as an honorary human trash on the Enneagrammers video, which
Yes.
I never understood why he's a fucking human trash. He's what?
Well, irreversible.
Yeah, I mean, just making people watch a 10-minute rape scene. It's like, I mean, it's like you don't watch a film for comfort. It's like his films are not made to be comfortable. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I mean, I'm out of my way to see it, but at the same time, I'm not watching the film just because I think it's like, um, I don't know, it's fun to see vibe. Like, I mean, oh, let me put it
It's
this way.
not.
Yes,
It's really uncomfortable, at least for me, to watch that scene.
yeah, it is uncomfortable.
It's really horrible. It's a really horrible scene.
Yeah, it's forcing you to see the entire brutality and violence, like just through and through. And it's not, yeah, there's no like there's something weird about it where like there was even a moment where she was trying to grasp for help and
Mm.
trying to get out of there, but like even like reaching towards the camera and she like it's like you're there, but you can't do anything about it. It's like
Yep.
he's forcing you to like the camera is forcing you to watch this scene and to get into the chaos and see this entire suffering, but you can't do anything about it, no matter how much you feel about it.
And the camera doesn't follow. The camera's not in the perspective of the rapist. It's important to the. I don't think Gaspar Noé intentionally put a message into the film necessarily, but he did make a deliberate choice to follow Monica Bellucci's character in that scene. We are following her character walking into the tunnel, and we are in her perspective to some degree during that scene. So it doesn't glamorize what the rapist is doing in any way. And I did read an interview with Gaspar Noé where he talked about how he did make that choice deliberately because he would have been too it would have been too erotic for him to try to move the camera around, I guess, or try to put it in the rapist perspective. It would have been a little bit too pornographic. And I think what he like it is like kind of an anti-pornographic scene. It's not sexy
Of course, it's not sexy.
at all. No, it's really fucking horrible and violent.
Yeah, like it's. I mean, there's also like I don't think it's. I mean, I don't think it is intentionally for like its own for his own like world, and it's like extra 7-8 for chaos, like playground, sandbox of death and
Mhm.
violence. I mean, the whole point of the film, like it follows specifically uh Vincent Castle and Monica Bellucci, and there's another guy.
Oh,
This kind of
yeah.
like nine. There's this 911 character that was with Vincent Castle the whole time. Yeah, it's like it was supposed to follow these characters, so I think
Mhm.
it was just perfectly done there.
It's like, I think what gets undersold about that scene too is it continues to be violent even, like, after the rape is finished. It continues to be violent for several more minutes after it,
Oh
because
yeah,
then he, like, continues to beat her up and put her in a coma brutally over the next several minutes.
oh yeah.
And we still see it from her perspective when her face is getting, like, slammed into the cement over and over again. It's like we're looking up at the rapist, not looking down at Monica Bellucci.
Oh, there wasn't even much of a reason why he did it or why he raped her. Why there's instead it was just this evil person doing it for his own interest, like out of his own. Like he just came out of nowhere and did it.
Mhm.
There's no explanation or for a reason for why terrible things happen or why good things happen. It's like it just happens.
Yeah, completely. There's no reason for anything that happens in that movie
Yeah.
except just to be tragic. Like there's really kind of a seven-ish like dramatic hedonism
Oh yeah.
happening at like seven core with the 8 and 4 fixes where it's just like shit's bad, but there's still like there's so much playfulness about like the camera movement and some kind of sadistic enjoyment I think Gaspar Noé got out of like he put like a really like a low hertz like humming in the background of the movie that's like below human perception, but you still feel it and it's just there to make you anxious.
It's forcing you into something super uncomfortable. And it's like a whole brutality of tragedy and despair. And
Mm.
well, not despair, but this extra negativity, this tragedy underneath. And it's really interesting because throughout the entire sequence, throughout how it went through the entire movie, it starts out the end starts out extremely negatively and shitty, and then as it goes towards the beginning of the movie, you see how everything was negative from the start. Like you thought, oh, like it's gonna be happier and better in the beginning, but it's not. It hasn't been. Like even there was a point where Vincent Castle was offering to take Monica Bellucci home,
Yeah.
like at one point, which would have changed the entire movie.
Yeah, completely. If he had just like ran after her and stopped her from leaving. Well, and
Exactly.
even she was like going to get on the bus or like take a taxi instead of going through the tunnel. But there's that woman outside who's like, just take the underpass, it's safer. So like there's a
Oh,
lot of negative foreshadow. There's like a lot of like backwards foreshadowing that happens because towards the end of the movie, which is the beginning of the story, we also learn that Monica Bellucci is pregnant.
oh yeah. It's like and there's like it's not like what else is there to say about it? But yeah. Um I mean, I'm just no. Is there anything else I could say about it? I mean, there's an interesting character. There are definitely these interesting kind of characters dynamics happening, especially that the guy that the nine guy who killed the wrong guy. He definitely seems like a nine.
Yeah.
Whereas like at the end, it's like the end of the story. He's finally explodes his anger and his violence. Whereas before he was content with watching. He wasn't dancing. Like there was a whole party scene and he was just watching and not getting involved. And like Vincent tried to get him with other women and see what's around, and he just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
And now he's like, okay, I'm gonna go explode
Yeah,
and do something.
he ends up getting corrupted by revenge
Uh
by the very end, I think, finally. He's
oh
like
yeah.
he's the last one to really kind of become a lunatic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for certain. Yeah. It's Yeah, and I think it's going down to
Mhm.
that, like following that more indulgent, chaotic, like the following on that violent road, like even in that his like that Vincent, the character naturally is, where He's a very wild person. He's super energetic, and he has to, he sees it go down this road, and it's like, oh no, don't take it, don't take it. But he just still goes along with it, and then somehow, well, here we are.
Yeah. Everyone gets swept up in the mania of of like the revenge tale.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I
Even
think,
like there's so many unwilling participants in it too. Like the trans woman that they start terrorizing,
yeah.
she ends up getting like swept up in it for in them trying to find the rapist, Latanya.
Oh yeah. And it's not even about, there's something about like revenge. It's not even about morality or what's like who are the good people, who are the bad people. It's
Hmm.
about getting what they want. I mean, if you think about like even there's a lot of homophobia, transphobia and racism in there already from just everybody. And that I'm thinking of the eight fix and this whole movie's approach to revenge and dealing with things that were wronged to you. And it's not relying on the law or anybody else to take care of it for you. It's like you're going to do everything for yourself and get caught up in what you want to do.
Hmm.
And, yeah, and it's kind of interesting seeing the nine convert into that more like eight fix, like it's a jungle out there. You have to go like, kill and eat. uh
Hmm.
philosophy, but it's also, it's like doing things for yourself and not relying on anybody else to do it for you. There's no good or bad in here. It's just life. And it happens to be that life is pretty fucking negative and terrible.
Yeah, life is tragic and violent and things happen for no reason and you can't rely on like authority to help you at all.
Oh, exactly. Like, and I mean there's also that, I mean it's regular like where revenge is like literally it's revenge itself is tit for tat, and the negotiation with the strangers and Vincent with what they're doing is that like we know the area, and also on top of that, not everyone can actually get the job done for you. Like the police, like they know that the police, like I mean they know the area better, whereas like the police will, you know, fuck you over anyway. Like they'll find him, but they'll also release him. And it's like, yeah, if you really don't want that to happen again, if you really want things done your way, then you're gonna have to not rely on them. And on top of that, the police probably aren't even any better either. So there's that.
Right. Well, yeah, they're not gonna the two guys that take Vincent Cassell's money and convince him that he can do it all. They can find him because they're convincing him too. They're like, "Oh, the police aren't going to do anything. They're not going to find this guy who almost murdered your wife. Like, you have to follow us. Like, we're the ones. You have to take it by yourself. You have to do all of this by yourself."
Oh yeah. And possibly even robbing them of money. So there's that.
Hmm.
So either
Yeah.
way, every character is fucked one way or the other.
You can also just see like there's a really like 7/8 thing happening with the aggressive use of strobe lights throughout
Oh
the
yeah.
film and camera angles, just the insanity. Like the early scene that happens in the film where the camera's just flying through this gay club called the Rectum,
Oh yeah.
and it's just extremely disorienting. The camera's never held still. It's always you're so inside of what's happening at every single moment.
Oh yeah.
The camera's like never far away from the action at all. You're always inside of the action.
Exactly. Yeah, it's super, yeah, it's made to give you a headache.
Hmm.
And just, yeah, even the overhead shots, there are a ton of overhead shots from his other films too, like Enter the Void or
Oh,
Climax, where it's like you're like looking down on the floor all the time, but you can't, and it's really sometimes stuck. Like you see all these things moving around, but the camera is fixed, looking down, and then all of a sudden it's starting to hurt. It's starting to hurt watching it because it's so fixed. It's like your neck. It's like you're looking down, but you can't move your neck and you can't adjust it. You can't do anything about it.
right.
It's just forcing you into this experience that nobody else has done and nobody's going to give you except him.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
There's
super.
something kind of like sadistic about that 7-8 area too, where the enjoyment is so selfish. And
Yeah,
like Gaspar Noé is clearly getting a kick out of like making this as much of a nightmare as possible and
exactly.
just like enjoying how much it hurts to watch the film.
Yeah, like I
Like
enjoy
he
watching you
wants it
suffer.
to be painful, yeah, because it's funny to him and it's a complete disregard for how other people might be feeling about that enjoyment that he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, he also. I'm also. It might not be too related, but it reminds me of one of his interviews where he said, "I prefer official enemies than tricky friends." It's like just yeah, like no problem with negative landscape, no problem with like being booed
Mhm.
or um yeah, it's like people who just say that they don't like it at first. It's like, yeah, that's a whole thing. And there were walkouts on his screening at Cannes Film Festival.
I think over 200 people walked out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There were people
Yeah.
like crying and I don't know, throwing up, having seizures, freaking out, panic attacks. Like it was
Oh
a
yeah.
very, very controversial screening, to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah, it's one of those films where it's like I can't believe that I haven't gotten a camera done that. Yeah. Because it's like if you haven't to me it's like if like a movie is like something that you want to do for yourself, it doesn't matter how shocking it is. Like it doesn't have to be like shock value for the sake of shock value, but if it happens to be shocking or if it's chaotic or if it makes people want to throw up, it's like so be it. And like even for my own sake, it's like amplify it. Because there's some kind of interest in amplifying that chaos and amplifying those elements and amplifying the experience and amplifying those themes to really make you never forget it and really just imprint it in your brain.
Right. Yeah, it'll never leave your brain ever.
Exactly.
It will try it's designed to traumatize.
Yeah, it's like really bad acid trip or something.
Yeah, which is what his some of his later films also. He loves those themes of bad drug trips, like Enter the
Exactly.
Void and Climax and Lux Eterna kind of all do the same thing.
Yeah, there's and I gotta say, like, there's yeah, we just watched what's that thing called?
I Stand Alone.
Yeah, that one. And it was that yeah, there's something really interesting about just getting a background in him where there's like the affix is very clear. And of course like I've talked about wanting to do uh a I want to do something like studying eight fix like gut types and gut fixes on violence in movies or books. Um, because like I mean, you could definitely see nine fixers do violence, one fixers do violence, and then you have eight fixers that are. I mean, the kind of stereotype is like if you see violence in a book, you're like, oh, that's eight fix. It's like, no, it's not. Um, in some way, and with him, it's just straight up like I don't know. It's kind of like imagine a leopard having to eat a deer, and like just to anger veganism, those vegans, and my arguments
Mhm.
for why if you're vegan then you suck. It's that if you think about like say predator prey relationship where everything is about survival, everything is about making your territory. And if someone steps on your territory, someone crosses you, someone tries to kill you, have to kill him right back. And
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, there's a whole like law or whole justification that they didn't do it right. It's like, no, it just is. And even with having to kill and eat, having to kill to survive, having to kill to take ownership, that's something that was really, really prevalent in that was something that was really prevalent in Karen and I Stand Alone, which, like I Stand Alone, is literally an extension of Karn. And it's really that, like the whole violent scenes, the entire violence, the um, impulse to do violence. There's no reason, there's no justification. It's just like I look at something that I don't like and I'm gonna go kill you, like
Mhm.
straight up. Like there's no, it doesn't have to be a reason. It doesn't require a reason. It just happens.
There were even these like cards in I Stand Alone that say like living is a selfish act, survival is an animal necessity or something to that effect.
Oh yeah.
just that kind of natural, brutal instinct. Like, well, this is what it is. You have to do this to survive. And even like Anthony Bourdain, the food critic, is the same trifix as Gaspar Noé. And there were many moments on his shows where he would, in contrast to a lot of like more happy-go-lucky food travel shows, he would
Yeah.
show like a goat being killed on camera for
Wow.
like a meal because there was just this raw element of like, well, these people raise this goat and they need it to survive. They need the meat to survive. And this is like a special occasion. So they kill the goat and they film it on camera and show it to you. They're like, well, you have to be a part of this. You have to
Yeah.
be a part of this violence that's happening because it's necessary for these people to do it.
Wow. Yeah. And if you think about, um, yeah, it's like even thinking about how people have this idea of, um, you know, when it comes to living, it's like people don't think that they actually live in violence all the time, or they
Mm-hmm.
live in like a world filled with violence all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone has violent urges and violent
Mm-hmm.
acts. Everyone has violence inside of them, and even to eat, to consume basic stuff like that, all of that is killing animals, separating mother animals from their children. And even that, enough, reminds me of this person that I blocked a long time ago, where yeah, they had this, like, they showed me this animal documentary where it's like basically a series of animals who are like in this animal factory, and you see like mothers separated, and animals were force fed or force bred, and they had to be like, you have chicks separated by their sex, and some end up in the incinerator to be made into little chicken nuggets. Some end up being great. Oh yeah, yeah. Like some chicks end up being separated by their sex and being processed and incinerated, and others grow older to like raise eggs and live in cages for the rest of their life and not see much sunlight. And some live with like broken bones and everything. And he had this huge emotional reaction about it. And I was just I hated it, because it was like, in my mind, it's like, yeah, like in my mind, it's like, well, this is just like an institutionalized version of predator prey relationship. It's like, it is what it is. Like, people kill and eat, like, even if it means that an animal will have to suffer. It's like, well, an animal is dying. It's like, of course, like, it doesn't matter about the state of the animal. Like, you think about a leopard who's gonna comfort a baby impala before it dies or something. Like, no. You think a boa constrictor is gonna comfort a parrot before it eats it? No. Like, it is what it is. It's like, here, let me give you a hug. I'm gonna go. Let me give you a hug before I swallow you whole.
Yeah, there's that very animal instinct about aphids. They're like more tapped into that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I tend to find it's like the nine wing one fixers typically who tend to think of violence as like a permissibility rather than an inevitability. And that's something that eight fixers are much more like tapped into, the inevitability of violence, assuming that things are violent
Exactly.
and that things are animal in that way.
Yeah. Like, there's like this is a whole conversation in itself. Like, one is a justification, like that extra need to justify violence, or there's kind of a background reason for violence, just the way I see it. And with eight, it's just like, it's just animals. Things are what they are. And I could definitely see a one fixer or even a nine fixer doing kind of the same way to a degree. But with eight, it's just the knee jerk reaction. Immediately, I'm going to go do it. Like, there are no laws, there are no rules. And
Mhm.
even if there are rules and laws around, it's like, you can find a way to bend it. You can find a way to go outside of it. Like, that's just, it's all about survival and power. Doesn't even matter if it's the law or whatever. It's like, it's about power.
Right. There's no natural code or no moral code, I guess I should say.
Oh yeah,
It's just,
exactly,
existence.
exactly. And I'm
It's just
thinking,
survival. Living
yeah,
is a selfish act. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know too much about Anthony Bourdain, but I'm thinking that, I mean, it's really interesting because I'm thinking of death, or just sometimes just showing how people eat literal garbage and shit in third world countries, or how animals are processed and killed for us to eat. Like, that's just, it is what it, like, some people, I imagine some people who watch it, even if they're not vegans or vegetarians, like, they don't want to watch it. They don't want to see it. and it's
Yeah.
just really surprising how people
Yeah.
just don't even want that as like dinner table conversations, or people don't want to see that. Where it's like, yeah, like imagine the thing that you're eating is probably some, I don't know, sick animal, or some animal with broken bones, or it had to be like, taken away by the ear and chopped off and bartered and butchered. And yeah, and it looks gross. It looks terrible. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah. But that, yeah, he was, Anthony Bourdain was famously like anti-vegan, anti-vegetarian.
yeah,
He famously would shit all over them because his kind of perspective on it, it's the very ape fix perspective. He was like, well, people have to do this to survive in other parts of the world.
oh yeah,
So he was still a caring person, but he was like, well, I visited these places where they have to do this to survive, or because they put a lot of work, they don't have industrialized meat industries. And so getting to eat the goat or the lamb or the chicken or whatever it was that was meat, it took a lot of hard fucking work, and they actually had to sit there and kill the animal themselves. And so like if you went to one of these countries, you should respect the culture that you're visiting and
exactly,
and partake if it's offered to you, because it's valuable, it's expensive. Meat's expensive in these places that don't have
exactly.
industrial systems for meat making.
Yeah, this podcast is very anti-vegan, by the way. Yeah, just yeah, vegans are losers. Just so you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. There's
It's a first world luxury for sure.
right, yeah,
You don't have that luxury in poorer countries
exactly.
to be
Like,
vegan.
yeah, exactly. And even to
Like
just
as a lifestyle choice. There are a lot of places where you have to be vegetarian or vegan because meat is so expensive, but
right,
to choose it as a lifestyle is a luxury.
exactly. Yeah, like there's some yeah, like even having to like I mean, it's not like I don't know, like if you're like I'm not saying like if you're allergic to meat, like, go ahead and eat. Like you just like if it's your diet, if it's what you're reacted to, like that's what it is. But
Mhm.
to choose to have a diet like for more like even to have like anything for moral or ethical reasons, like as a lifestyle, in that in a way is a choice. Like something you have to
Mhm.
like get used to it and just live the way that you need to live, even if it means like killing, eating a baby horse or something.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
It makes me
super.
think of the countries in Central Asia, like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, where most of it is like Eurasian steppe climate, and it's just not a hospitable area for like growing vegetables, really. So a lot of their diet consisted of grains like rice and horse meat, or like different types of game meats that they could get access to, because there's no they like these lands are not hospitable to like agriculture in any way, really. So they're primarily meat and grain diets because that's all they had to eat. Like they didn't have potatoes and
Yeah,
tomatoes and all these things. I mean, Gaspar, there's definitely like a very distinct like style thing that he's doing. And I Stand Alone, I guess, very much leans into the eight fix more than maybe some of the other movies do. Just as far as it's kind of like an espousing of eight-ish
oh yeah,
philosophy of brutality. That whole film is like the main character's an 8-wing 9, and he's just almost never speaks to any other characters. He's just rambling in his head all these brutal, negative, violent things every single
exactly.
day. Everything's trash. I think even in the beginning they refer to him as being in the bowels of the country or something, the bowels of the nation.
Bowels.
Everything is just trash all the time in that
Just shit.
movie. In Gaspar Noé films, everything's just trash and violent, and it's just a hedonistic display of violence and chaos all the time.
There's a clip in what was it? Natural Born Killers, and there's a whole prison scene where Woody Harrelson was saying about violence and like animals killing animals, species killing all species, and like destroying the forest. We just call it industry, not murder, and that how violence and sex has supremely evolved throughout time. And there's a whole. I think it's not like it's not like I don't want to say super ego was offended, but I suppose with the bigger presence of social norms in society and how people should behave, the super ego or social conduct. That's when that's when violence gets hidden and really like. Of course, there's a subtext of violence, but it gets extremely hidden. And, it's like you're not supposed to express your violence, not supposed to express your anger or any violent urges or what we call as violence. But it ends up, in a way, like people still are violent. People still are, and even having to outsource that to art. Yeah. And there's something I don't know if I've really mentioned that before, where art and like there's definitely the mixture of sex and violent and art in itself, and there's some kind of creation or kind of ritual with violence. And if you think about, like, say, human sacrifice or animal sacrifice, and now that's like, I mean, human sacrifice is wiped away, and then animal sacrifice is wiped away. It's like, well, what now? It's like all the animal sacrifices are industrialized, and um, human sacrifice is gone for reasons. But well, no, human sacrifice would be uh I think that would also like come more amplified and say with wars or with I don't know, like the feeling to like, fight someone like to in like in our like in historical wars where there's genocide, or
Mhm.
there's people with the draft. It's like, yeah, you have to make a literal human sacrifice
Yeah,
for our own political, ideological, territorial reasons. But yeah, it's like there's a way where human sacrifice through violence, like the old things that we've abandoned from thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, are still here and present today, and people just don't want to call it that.
right. It's always just around the corner. Or it's
Exactly.
always happening, like even if it's not, it is certainly not pretty to talk about, but yeah, people get tortured and murdered in horrible, horrible ways all around the world every single day.
Exactly.
Even just around the corner, I don't know, like, you're never that far from, like, I don't know, like, horrible domestic violence situation or child abuse situation. Like, you could probably hit several houses in any neighborhood in America, and it would be there.
Right. Yeah. And imagine like some people who I think imagine like say having to censor violence or having to censor sexuality or having to basically protect your kids from seeing violence or seeing all those dark things and putting them in this kind of innocent bubble, and having them to grow up in that sort of way to where like those kids will eventually either grow up with these customs just like their parents, or to where it's like now they have the reduced generational affect, or they'll figure out the violence, they'll figure out the dark material for themselves,
Mhm,
and they'll have to decide how they're going to go through it. Maybe they'll end up like their parents, maybe they'll end up something different. But
mhm,
sometimes I take the radical stance of not, I don't know, like there's something about ratings or like even movie ratings. Sometimes I have the whole sometimes I take the radical stance of just not, like getting rid of abolishing movie ratings, because I think of, like children had to see, like, I mean, children in other countries, for instance, had to see, like, I don't know, like in third world countries, or even, people who didn't live in European countries or more industrialized, advanced countries in the past century. So even now, where they see violence all the time, they see people eaten by wild animals. They see wild animals butchered in front of public to see. They see hangings. They have
mhm,
people. They see people being killed no matter what age. And now we have these advanced societies that keep children in a bubble to where they don't know anything about it, but they only read about it in books. They only read about it in other media forms. They do it in secret. They do violence in secret, and like say violence in school, or like just I don't know, escaping the rules and the principles and the laws and whatever. The idea of censoring violence to me is just sometimes like I think the problem is that people don't have frank conversations about sex and violence to children, or frank conversations about sex and violence to just anyone. And I think there's that sort of thing where it's like to have to be honest about it. And I think being honest and straightforward about it is necessary than protecting it or saying, oh, you're not ready to see this. It's like, if to me, it's like if a person is genuinely curious about it, then it's like, okay, well, tell it like it is. Like it doesn't matter if
mhm.
they're 5 years old and they're wondering how babies get born, if they're wondering how romance or love works, if they're interested in like why do we all die or whatever. my thing is like answer the questions as honestly as possible and don't hold back. And even there's a whole thing like ratings are here for a reason. Especially
Mhm.
because you're not going to have every child watching Salo or whatever,
No.
but like it's not made for that demographic, and I think ratings are specifically made for certain demographics. Um, but also there are those my thing is like there are those G-rated movies where it's like those movies are made just as they are, but um, my thing is that if like life itself is, I would say, if I had to give life a rating, it would be NC-17 or R rated
Yeah.
because it's life. Like life is not gonna be like cookie cuttered and pleasant for children, and some things are innocent for some people, some things are more comfortable for other people. Others, some things work for some people, some others things just simply don't. And if people are interested in seeing sex and violence, like let them go see it. But if they aren't and they're more, wholesome, it's like that's their thing. And it will happen. I think there's a whole spectrum of MPA ratings that you could give. That's a whole thing.
I mean, yeah, there's a really interesting conversation about ratings to be had in terms of like ethics of art. It's a noble pursuit to try to preserve innocence as long as possible, but there's always some point like in every person where that naturalistic element of the world, that naturalistic like violence does, kind of deprave the innocence at some point. Like or adult, children become adults at some point. I mean, I do understand like why we don't want kids to be seeing movies like Irreversible because it's horrible, horrible to watch and deeply traumatic. I don't think that children should be like, or young people should be depraved of their innocence in such violent ways. But there is something about understanding like the world as a violent place that is necessary for realistically navigating it.
Mm, yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
know where I was going
Because
with that.
I mean, I'm thinking of it's not like my thing about innocence is not like innocence to the point of naivete,
Mm,
which that is, I think, a danger in itself. But I suppose there is this, like, people have a natural innocence. Like you see adults with childlike innocence at
sure.
time with that kind of first. I don't want to like sound overly uh like spiritual or woo woo or whatever, but that first spark that children tend to have, that children seem to have, like the playful nature, that playful spark that you would call innocence. There is, I think, a both an innocence and a casual violence and aggression that goes towards it. Like it's a mixture of opposites, and people want to protect that one. People want to
Mhm,
preserve and contain that one part and separate the other. But yeah, I think there's a mix of. I think what's really great is like having a mixture of innocence and you know natural aggression and that violence, so to speak,
mhm.
where like it's kind of like a union of opposites that most people don't agree with, and it's like I don't know if you think about like say the separation, like there's a dramatic separation and polarization between violence or sex in music or movies or in any art form whatsoever. Like I don't know, like say pornography or even pornography, which has existed since man has an imagination.
Yeah.
But pornography has now been split to where it's like sometimes like you have the very lowbrow, like crass, like meaty
Mhm.
pornography versus the pornography that was in classical art, that was in older ancient art, and um, and there's usually like a lack of unification in pornography and art in most like becoming more prevalent now, but it's still heavily separated in most movies.
Susan Sontag wrote an essay one time called The Pornographic Imagination, where she distinguished between pornography and like erotic literature, specifically like erotic literature being more of that kind of, I guess I would say fantastical, but more kind of literally focused on like the erotic charge between people, and pornography being more of the works of like the Marquis de Sade, which were just kind of like raw meat market,
Mm,
like disgusting. And then she discussed in that essay how like pornography served to just be a moral transgressor
mm,
and not actually foster like eroticism. I keep saying that word, but pornography, like in literature, and probably this would also apply to like media, visual media as well. But like pornography is just like a moral transgressor more than it is like supposed to be arousing in any way.
Mm,
It's just like taking the moral code and like pissing and shitting all over it for the sake of hedonism.
mm, yeah. And that's really good. Yeah. And I'm thinking about people who advertise love or people who advertise romance even under the guise of sexuality and intimacy, or like how even people censor the sexual instinct that's one to one intimacy. But also it's like I'm thinking of people's conception of love, for instance, being entirely diluted and fabricated and productive. And there is something I think inherently missing from much of the media, but people try to find that deep, meaningful thing within it, which is a huge mistake. Because if you want to find it, then go somewhere else or do it yourself. But I think the media is for what it is, and if you want to create something what like near that, like I'm thinking of like some of Dennis Cooper's books, like Closer and the Sluts, where it's super like you have the sluts. No, not the sluts. Closer, where it's about this guy who's um tossed around and fucked by different people, and he's wanting to search for something deep and meaningful, and he's been abused, and he wants to be understood. He wants to have some friend wants something deep and meaningful, and generally intimate with a person, but it's all missing. It's not there with this kind of transgression. And underneath that, transgressive, those desires that people naturally want, there is something inherently empty with them.
Mm.
Like, like I don't know. I'm thinking about uh, like it's been a while since that episode on the old podcast came out, but I'm thinking of that. What was it? The archetypal masculine episode.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't think I
from
listened to that one, but
yeah, where one of the things that was mentioned was that underneath, yeah, there's a kind of um, I'm probably botching this paraphrase, but underneath rage and violence is sadness or a deep shame. It's like most people like I think most people compartmentalize this. I mean, I think there's kind of like a whole thing where some people think it's like polarizing, and it's like there's like the opposites, and it's like two of each where it's like good and bad, and then there's a third force underneath. Like there's innocence and there's wholesomeness, and then there's violence, and then there's rage, and then the third force, I think there's some kind of well of shame or sadness or something, like feeling that something is lost.
yeah.
And yeah, there's probably more to what I'm speaking about, or maybe I'm uh cheapening this, but it's that like kind of idea of who you should be, and then there's the actual um thing that you want to express that you've repressed with this idea that you should be. And then underneath that thing that you want to express out, it's like, well, what now? It's like,
Mm.
who am I really? Or what is this thing that I want? Like, where's
Right.
the, like, there's something that I think is phenomenally missing within most of the world at large.
I think Catherine Breillat even explores the sort of masculine emptiness in Anatomy of Hell. The unnamed man in this movie really resents this woman's like vagina because the whole of it, like literally like the vastness of the whole, like reflects, he sees his own emptiness reflected in it, and that's why he feels a need to like penetrate and dominate it.
Mm.
He needs to be like he needs to be the master of the whole, so to speak, the emptiness that it exists in himself, and that's why he's like a misogynist pig.
Oh, that is a perfect metaphor. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he needs to be penetrated in the inside. He's also a gay man. So that makes it even more fascinating. Whereas like kind of, yeah, or even sexuality that switches up, but um, but yeah, um, but yeah, I think, a lot of things that, yeah, I guess, there's so many things that people really have got to see through, violence. And it's not like I'm guessing like, say, people who read. There's this weird thing going on where like I don't know if people get obsessed with villains and people get obsessed with these cool badass characters. Like I don't know if you've like seen people like men especially get obsessed with uh Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, where I mean
Mm,
even if you have like read the book or watched the movie, people think like, oh, you're gonna be this violent character, and it's like now that people want to masquerade, they want to be that character because they aren't doing that in themselves. They aren't doing that at all. And it's like
right.
underneath them, they're just this husk, this empty, there's this empty black husk underneath this kind of masquerade of violence with this one archetype. Or if you think
Mm,
of like people who read, violent books, or like people want to learn about the violent books, but I think people who have kind of depth, or at least have a good conscience, or people who read violent books or read about violence and read about sexuality, but they don't go in there just absorbing everything. And of course, there are things that you can learn from some of these books, but
mm,
it's not like, oh, you just become this violent character or become this sexual deviant after reading Lolita or something.
no.
Like it is like, you're just something that you have to think critically about, and most people don't seem to have that.
I once I once described Irreversible as a pornographic booby trap.
Wow.
Because of this exact phenomenon that you're describing. Like, I think a lot of men might be drawn to watching Irreversible because they kind of want the glorification of the rape that happens in the movie. But I actually think it's a bait and switch in that sense because it doesn't glorify it at all. It's actually like horrible. It just shows it in a really raw, brutal form that is horrible to watch. So I think anyone who's kind of going to it to get their rocks off or like get a hard on are going to be sorely disappointed because it doesn't do that. And I think a lot of these kind of extreme art portrayals of violence are similar in the sense that they function as kind of booby traps. They're not fantastical and magical and arousing. They're very dark and depressing, and they're not fun.
Yeah.
They're not
It's
there for you to idolize. Like they're there to just be shit.
exactly. Yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, that reminds me of how, yeah, there's definitely like the seven, where there's the idea of, oh, seven being fun, but that affix is bringing you that punch of reality. Like this is what it is.
Mhm.
And it's not, it's like, yeah, there's a seven, like chaos demon, and eight is chaos demon, but it's like, you want to see how like this is what it is, and it's horrifying and it's shocking, and it does not give a shit about how you feel about it. It is what it is, and it shows it bears its teeth, and you gotta run
Mhm.
fast, like do what you gotta
Right.
do when it bears its teeth at you before it kills and eats you.
Mhm.
Yeah, nothing overly fantastical about it.
No. If you go to it looking to feel embodied, you will be disappointed. Like if
Yeah,
you're looking for you know, an idol to project yourself onto, it's not there.
absolutely.
Thanks for visiting us here at Hopeless Romantics.
Oh my god. Okay, bye.